Well, Connecticut, let me give you an update. It being late, the hour is late, but as it came to pass in Connecticut, I filed a temporary emergency ex parte injunction on the Blumenthal race on October 20th. And I filed a case. This is probably the most important election fraud case in American history, I think, and I've tried to describe what's been going on and updating it as I learn more. But what I can tell you is that the clerks of the Stamford Superior Court are manipulating cases. So I intend to prove quite a few things, but despite repeated requests to Clerk Ryan Flanagan, no response was given to the requested hearing. So here we go. We have 20 capias writs that have not been addressed. We have, I believe, about 20 habeas corpus in the Stamford Superior Court not addressed. A short calendar date was set. They are not in person, and every motion that I mark ready gets removed from the calendar for some reason. And I have series of documents that I'm going to give the court that basically describe it. It's going to demonstrate that the clerks of the Stamford Superior Court are criminals. Here we go. You put in a motion for an injunction on a federal race because you're not placed on the absentee ballot. So we have laws in Connecticut that our governor created. Right here, Order 7WW, COVID Safety Protocol for Elections, and I followed them, but Ted Bromley didn't. Ted Bromley is our Director of Elections. We have voters that called him that said, how come you're not counting my ballot? On August 22nd, Ted Bromley stole candidate signatures, petitioning candidate signatures, and gave them to Hearst Media. We have the affidavit of the lawyer from Hearst Media. The problem here is that they think I'm a conspiracy theorist, and they had me arrested. Unfortunately, there was no warrant. Now there is. Hilarious, folks. Hilarious. The Secretary of State threatened to arrest me because I gave them 57,962 signed petitioning candidate forms. They had no intention of putting me on the ballot because I was a Trump supporter. They circulated letters saying we will never allow another Trump supporter on the ballot in the state of Connecticut ever again. Thousands of letters, numerous towns circulated the same letter. So they actively solicited the registrars, and the registrars refused to validate the signatures. So I started digging deeper into the language of the contracts of Connecticut for GEMS, LHS, ESS, AccuVote, Dominion software, and I started following the hacks. My state hacked every state you can name practically, and they flipped with others many of the swing states. Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania was flipped. Connecticut played a role. Vermont was flipped. Connecticut played a role. Every town in Connecticut had Trump votes flipped to Biden. Every single town. Because the registrars are playing a game. Oh, the tabulators are not connected to the internet. Well, they used poll books to rig the election. They used Knowink, Knowink, to rig elections. All the schools are connected through our school private hacking system. And we're connected to New York, New Jersey, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, and other states. Those votes were collected and sent to Spain. When they came back from Spain, they changed the president of the United States. So I am deeply concerned that our court system rigged an election, and we have 7 or 8 judges that are communicating ex parte. We have evidence of that from the Randolph transcript. Read the Blowy transcript. No associate of Sam Magliore will get a fair trial in the Stanford Superior Court. He was falsely arrested 11 times. They claimed he was dead. They claimed he was dead. He signed my petition. He's not dead. They claimed Andrew Pritchard was dead. They stole his house. $3.5 million house. Zero consideration. There are over 25 judges involved in that case. What I'm saying is every judge is involved. Now, when you look at Heather Lindsay, who's another person who signed my petition, it gets ugly. She was raped by Dr. Ahuja, pill mill doctor, Dr. Oxycontin, woke up gang raped by Mike and AJ Ahuja, who on May 30th of last month, May, threatened to shoot her like they shot her son, in the back of the head. So I've been threatened multiple times that I would be shot in the back of the head as a U.S. Senate candidate, and I reported it to Norwalk. I reported it to Wilton, Darien. I've reported hundreds of cashed stolen checks to the Darien, Stamford, Easton, New Canaan, Greenwich, Wilton. The major problem is Wilton. And as a U.S. Senate candidate, they think they can just keep threatening to shoot me in the back of the head. Well, Chris Kelly got a note saying he was going to be shot in the back of the head too, and he's a plaintiff in the Connecticut 5G case. Heather's a plaintiff in the Connecticut 5G case. Sam Magliore's a plaintiff in the Connecticut 5G case, a federal lawsuit that's got 109 pages of, the complaint is 109 pages, and we have 40 defendants, including Chuck Schumer, Blumenthal, Himes, Murphy. Chris Murphy is Department of Homeland Security head. We are being gang-stalked. Heather's son was shot in the back of the head, and they said that they would shoot Chris Kelly just like they shot Heather's son in the back of the head. But as I was saying, on May 30th, Heather was threatened at gunpoint by Mike Ahuja, who was caught with $18 million in his trunk, bribing cops from Connecticut to Texas. There is a federal indictment, and he went to jail. Well, he's out because they sprung him, because that's what Connecticut does. And what I'm saying right here and right now is that they are threatening to shoot quite a few people. What does the FBI? What has the FBI done? Oh, they're in charge. They're in charge. If you look at one case called the Highlander case, you'll understand how big this case is. And not for nothing, the Stamford police refused to arrest Michael Ahuja because he bought Judge White. What other judges are implicated? Well, through their actions, Kavanewski certainly is. Kremrich, certainly. I can explain how Kremrich is involved, up to his eyeballs. Kremrich dismissed the Stephen Barrier murder case, where this tooth was chipped when I was assaulted by the cops giving me standing, which is clearly put in the documents. The judge says I have no standing. Well, the snuff video demonstrates that 6 cops killed Stephen at 1:30 a.m., tased him repeatedly in the head, in the neck, and he was screaming during the snuff video, which Richard Colangelo took a bribe to cover up. So I recently reported, and I tried to get those judges arrested, and of course Stamford refuses. But this is key. Judge Blowie called Judge McShane. Yeah. Judge Blowie transferred those cases out of Stamford because it was getting out of hand, and it's all coming to a head, folks, in the next 2 weeks. So what do you need to know? You need to go to court in Bridgeport, Connecticut on July 14th. Everyone in the state needs to witness what's going to happen on that day. Because I was in court when Sam Magliari appeared for his 5 false arrests. So I went to the Stamford Superior Court, which has the state's attorney in it, the other day. I went to Larry Tamacchio's office. I asked for Paul Forensic. He said, "You can't speak to Paul Forensic." I said, "Really?" I said, "I want to write a complaint about you," to Larry Tamacchio. He says, "What for?" I said, "Swindle. They falsely arrested Sam. They collected $145,000 in bail. When Sam appeared, I was there with, I think, 10 people. I think 6 of us wrote affidavits that we were there. And then the judge forfeited the bond, claiming Sam was never there. Sam was there. I was there. We have the recording of us being there. The conversation is clear. And what happened then was swindle by the DA. He stole the money. I reported it to the Stamford Police Department. Not only are they not arresting the gunman who had a unregistered firearm and an unregistered car. Now, if you were driving on the street in Stamford and you had an unregistered car and you got pulled over, they would tow the car. They would tow the car. They would take the handgun that's unregistered. But let me tell you what the Ahuja brothers do. They have a plane. They fly in the Oxy. They hook children. Connecticut supports Purdue Pharma because of the bribery. $112 million in bribes. $112 million in bribes. Congressman Jim Himes took an Oxy bribe. Of course he did. He took stolen funds from FTX. Sam Bankman. Blumenthal and Murphy took Burisma bribes. Burisma bribes. Blumenthal took 18 bribes in 5G so far that I'm aware of. 60,000 from Charter Communication, so that Chris Murphy could gang stalk you, use 5G to surveil you, give you electric shock, using drones surveilling Americans. It's a problem, folks, and we need to draw a line in the sand. So, thanks for listening. I will share this, and I hope we survive all this going on, because not only is Ukraine erupting, it's now affecting Russia, which is a nuclear power. And the recent attempt by the Wagner Group, let's explain what the Wagner Group is. The Wagner Group owns 25% of the oil in Syria that we left them. The Wagner Group was in Afghanistan. The Wagner Group was in Chad. It's in the Central African country, mining oil, mining lumber, mining gold, silver, copper. They're taking all the assets to fund the Third World War, and we're buying their oil. So we are funding both sides of this war, folks, through our purchases of Syrian oil owned by the Wagner Group, who are criminals. So what's happening with the policy of my Connecticut Senator, Bob Duff? He's letting his prisoners out to rob us, rape us, like serial rapist Clemente Gusto with his fourth victim, never arrested for the fourth rape on a Metro-North train. The MTA didn't arrest him because he was in New York, and he's a Connecticut resident, and there's a huge problem with what's going on there. But what I'm saying is Bob Duff lets the prisoners out to rape us, while Putin signs up his prisoners to collect our money to fund the other side of the Ukraine war. So Chris Murphy and Richard Blumenthal's new Green New Deal is being used to shut our pipelines down, so we're forced to fund the Ukraine war. What I'm telling you is that in my crystal ball, which is right back there, I can show you. Why don't I show you? We get a lot of followers, and then we lose them all, because Twitter kicks us off. I got kicked off Twitter for providing a subpoena to them to find out the identity of one of the people threatening me. And they got upset, so they took away all my followers. Okay, fine. You know what? We got this, folks. The cavalry's coming. They're waking the sleeping giant. And people are contacting me from all over the country. And they're pissed. So, not only is my phone being hacked, I can tell you for certain that the judges in the Connecticut Superior Court need military tribunal. Have a great day. I'm all in.